beavercountyradio.com.
Local news, local topics, local conversation. You're listening to AM Beaver County on 95.7 FM, 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and 1460 WMBA. Presented by St. Barnabas and streaming live at beavercountyradio.com.
And we're back on AM Beaver County on this Thursday morning, and we are joined once again by Kelly Cope from Patriot Home Care in Beaver Falls. Kelly, good morning to you.
Good morning, Matt.
So one thing I did want to ask you, because we were talking about Patriot Home Care, for those who may not remember what Patriot Home Care is, sort of a brief overview of what that is.
Patriot Home Care is a home care agency that sends aides in to help multiple types of people, like elderly, disabled, do daily living activities in their home. So it's not medical, so it would be just like what you and I do on a daily basis. Get up, get a shower or bath, get dressed, get your breakfast, get your meals, light housekeeping, and assist them to appointments if they need to.
Right, and then the basic concept is that you're not doing it for them, you're helping them in making sure they can do it themselves.
Correct. We're not taking any kind of nothing away from them. We're not taking their independence. We're trying to help them live with their independence as best they can. That way they don't have to go into a nursing facility and depend on someone else for it.
Right, and that is a good thing, because when you get up there, you want to still have that feeling of I'm doing something that I want to do, that live life every day in a certain way. And it's that kind of independence that does sort of fuel somebody to continue living and not have to sort of surrender to just having being taken care of all the time. Now, some people want that; that's their choice. But in the case of those not wanting to do it, Patriot Home Care is sort of a way to sort of meet that in the middle, where I need a little bit of help, but at the same time, I want to do most of this on my own.
Correct. And we also, we want to try to get the word out there to everybody about the program that this is on. It's a government-funded program that the participants don't have to pay for. So this service is going to be totally free for them if they qualify for the waiver program. And when they get on the waiver program, we're helping them. I mean, they don't even really have to pick us. I mean, just, we just want, Patriot Home Care is about helping the people. So if it's just helping them get on the program and things like that, that's fine. If they choose us, that's even better. They can also have their family do it too. They can, help out with that as well.
Right. And that's good too, because, it is good to know that, there are those who do keep in contact with their family, that they can reach out to them and say, hey, we'll help you out, and you help us out and stuff like that. And one thing I did want to ask in regards to the assistance, because we did mention that, family members can be part of it and family members can be involved. If someone from the outside is willing to be a part of Patriot Home Care, be essentially an employee or an assisted living helper with Patriot Home Care, are there any certain requirements they have to have as far as medical training or anything of that nature?
No, they don't have to have any type of experience or anything. They just basically, the big thing they have to have is compassion for the people. They want to be able to want to help people. Because this isn't just a basic job like when you go to a convenience store or McDonald's or anything like that. Because when you deal with those people, they're walking away from you. Whereas if you're helping someone in their home, you're there with them 8 hours a day. You build a rapport with them, and you get acclimated with them, I guess, if that's what I'm looking for.
Right.
So there is no physical requirements. You don't have to have your CNA. You don't have to have any type of medical degree or anything like that. If you're asking me what they need the compassion. They need to want to help people, because this is more than just a paycheck. This is, someone's life you're dealing with.
Right. And I think, too, the part that gets it is, in order to help somebody live their life, you have to be willing to, essentially be part of their life, because, that's what they need, is someone to help them out, someone to help understand them, because it's not just a matter of, sort of being a robot and just, putting this there or this there. No, it's, being with them, helping them out, allowing them to feel independent, and at the same time sort of having that level of, connection to say, hey, I'm not in this alone. I'm not sort of struggling alone. I have help, and this will all work out.
Correct.
So if someone does want to apply to be a worker with Patriot Home Care, how can they do so?
They can call the office directly. They can come down to the office and visit us here at the office in Beaver Falls. They can also go on to the Patriot website and look for the Beaver Falls office and go ahead and, fill in some information that way. And if they do call us, we can do a lot of it via email. So we can go back and forth, through email if they can't make it into the office, all the time or whatever. So we try to make it as easy as possible.
Right. And then as available as possible too, because again, you can do it in person, you can do it online. You can contact over the phone for more information if that is necessary. And again, we'll have all these links up at beavercountyradio.com later on this morning. How many residents, at least in Beaver Falls, are currently being taken care of by Patriot Home Care?
We have 72 current.
72 current.
Mm-hmm. And we're always looking for more consumers, always. So if there's anybody out there that needs the help, they can get in touch with us. If you know anybody that needs help, they can reach out to us as well. But we are always looking for caregivers as well. Because right now, a lot of places are hurting for employees. Mm-hmm. So is the medical field, so we're always looking for new help, new employees. We are also running a sign-on bonus as well. So
that's a nice incentive too. As far as the coverage area, because I know the main office is located in Beaver Falls, because obviously with Patriot Home, you do have sort of the office building centered in the city, but the actual places of care, it's not like a nursing home where all the rooms are there. The rooms are basically wherever the person lives, whether it be an apartment or a house. So where in that regard is sort of the parameters of where Patriot Home Care, at least for Beaver Falls, sort of operates in?
Well, for this location, our main area is Beaver County. So anywhere in Beaver County. So it could go up to as far as like Aliquippa, Monaca, Center, Rochester, Ambridge, Rochester, New Brighton, Beaver
Right.
Falls, Chippewa. So anywhere in the Beaver County area, we can go.
So it covers all throughout Beaver County. And
yes.
Again, for those who are caretakers, they won't have to, they may have to report to the office at sometimes, but mainly their location will be whoever they're taking care of. And do those who do have positions sort of like the outside, because again, the family does get involved with certain patients or certain residents. But as far as those who are, employees of Patriot Home Care particularly, are they caring for one person at a time? Are they caring for multiple people a day? How does that work?
It's actually their choice. It's typically one client, okay? But one client might only have, say, 20 hours. If that caregiver wants 40 or more hours, then we can give them a second client as well.
Okay.
We try to, schedule it to where they're not, 3 different clients a day. We try to, make it to where, a couple days at this client, couple days at this client.
You don't want anybody monopolizing all the clients to themselves.
Well, not just that, but I'm talking like, especially now for gas prices, you don't want them driving all over the place and
that's a good point.
Wasting the gas. So we try to keep it, as close to them as possible.
Right, and that's a good thing too. Sort of, that's taken into consideration that if someone is helping somebody, I was like, okay, well, you can help out this person. You don't have to travel so far, because we know you live here, and we know that times are tough in that regard with gas prices being what they are and everything else. So that is a good element too. We're talking with Kelly Cope from Patriot Home Care in Beaver Falls, talking about the importance of assisted living independence, and we are going to continue talking about that on the other side of this break here on AM Beaver County.
95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with WBVP, WMBA, and BeaverCountyRadio.com, invite you to tune in to Sounds of Faith. Tune in Sunday mornings from 7 until 9 for a mix of the best sacred music of all time. Sounds of Faith is brought to you by Crawford Tire in Beaver, the William Murphy Funeral Home, City Rescue Mission, MRS Physical Therapy, Circle of Friends, J&J Spratt Funeral Home, and Rome Monument and Inspirational Gifts. Sounds of Faith, uplifting, relaxing, and inspiring radio. Sunday mornings from 7 until 9 on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with WBVP, WMVA, and BeaverCountyRadio.com.
It's easier than ever to connect with Pittsburgh-based Goldberg, Persky & White. With offices in Pittsburgh, Johnstown, and Weirton, the mesothelioma attorneys can easily come to you. For a free consultation, you can email GPW at info@gpwlaw.com, call 1-800-COMPLEX, or get your questions answered immediately by connecting the GPW's online chat representatives who are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at gpwlaw.com. Goldberg, Persky & White, working lawyers for working people.
Tune in every Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. for another insightful edition of Living Well, a special segment on Beaver County Radio designed to help you enjoy the best, most fulfilling, and healthiest life possible. Hosted by Dr. Joseph Maroon and Jeff Boast, and presented by St. Barnabas. Living Well, Saturday mornings at 8:30, right here on Beaver County Radio, WBVP Beaver Falls, WMVA Ambridge, along with 99.3 FM and 95.7 FM.
Hey, it's Jimmy Fallon from Fox News, inviting you to tune into Beaver County Radio, weekdays from noon to 3 p.m. for Fox Across America with me, Jimmy Fallon. It is the fastest growing radio show in the country, mainly because of my weight. But the point is, you tune into our show, you could be a Republican, you could be a Democrat, just don't be a jerk. Listen live on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and BeaverCountyRadio.com. I'll see you there.
You don't have to have had an accident, suffered a sports injury, or undergone surgery to take advantage of the benefits of physical therapy from Dale Reckless at MRS Physical Therapy. At a recent live broadcast at MRS Physical Therapy in Bridgewater, Dale Reckless talked about treatment for the common foot pain condition, plantar fasciitis.
Plantar fasciitis is a pretty common thing, and I tell my patients, don't wait to come and get some treatment for it. The longer you wait, the more chronic it becomes, and we'll still fix it, it'll just take longer. If you come to see me when you're first getting the symptoms, then I can take care of it a lot quicker. What I do with plantar fasciitis is we give some stretches to do. I do a lot of hands-on exercise, and then I also do an evaluation of how they walk and how they stand. They need the hands-on work that I do to help cure the plantar fasciitis.
If you need physical therapy for any reason, choose the place that your friends and neighbors do. MRS Physical Therapy in Bridgewater and Cranberry Physical Therapy in Cranberry. Visit mrsphysicaltherapy.com.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
And we're back on AM Beaver County on this Thursday morning. We're talking with Kelly Cope from Patriot Home Care in Beaver Falls. And Kelly, we were talking the last segment about, the levels and sort of the parameters in which, employees can, contact their residents and how many residents they could contact a day. What usually happens on a daily day for somebody, like let's say in the perspective of a caretaker? What's their usual day like?
Usually it's one client typically. We don't have any right now. We don't have any caregivers that go like one client in the morning, one client in the afternoon.
Right.
So they have the same client all day. And typically what they do is they'll go in, clock in, help the client with their daily, whatever they need done. So get them up in the morning, get them bathed, dressed. If they don't have anything to do around the house, like the light housekeeping, they can actually sit there and be companionship for them. They can sit and have conversations, play games, play cards,
right,
watch TV with them. So it's whatever the client wants them to do during those hours that they're there. Now,
in the sense of because again, we talked about how, being a caretaker means having compassion, having compassion for life and having that connection with a client. In what ways does that sort of, cause a bit of fluidity when it comes to that. Because what my mind is thinking is, okay, a client comes in, they clock in, they're helping out this player, they're playing cards, they're helping out. Where does the line get drawn at, okay, we need to move on from this, and, the shift has to come to an end? Because I guess what I'm asking is the human element of, hey, I need you to come over, or hey, I need a little bit of help with this. Someone may say that like 8 o'clock at night. Where does that line get drawn, or is there no lines?
The client, when they get their hours approved and stuff, it's up to them to set their schedule. So if they want somebody in the morning, they tell us the time, like say 9 to 2. If they want somebody in the evening, then they pick like 7 to 10 or whatever they want.
Okay.
So the caregiver actually has their choice to accept the case or not. So they know what the shifts are before they say, yes, I'll take that client. So if it's a shift they don't want, they don't have to take it.
Right. And at that point, it's the person being taken care of, the client, that's sort of, they have to operate based on, their own personal parameters along with your parameters. Because, you can't just, send somebody out at 1 o'clock in the morning saying, hey,
Typically, the hours being worked are typically within the daylight time. So
right.
If it's like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, typically they're done by 11 o'clock at night, depending on who the client is. For someone to be done at 1 o'clock in the morning, that's not really, that would be someone that would have 24-hour care. So our basic clients that come in now, it's just to help them throughout the day.
Right.
So there's no, going out until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Things like that.
Yeah. And that actually sort of brings me back to something we've talked about before when you came in, is that, if there's a situation where it feels like somebody needs more attentive care and more of a sort of urgent on the, moment type of care, that it may not be in the sort of parameters that Patriot Home Care goes under, because Patriot Home Care is assisted living independence, where something like that may be more of a dependent 24-hour care type thing, and you guys will actually refer them to one of those areas.
Correct. If it's a client that, we go into the home and, it could be a client that starts out great, the caregiver can go in and do what they need, but as it goes along, they'd start to decline, or, things start to get worse, then that's when we step in and, reach out to what's called their service coordinator, let them know, hey, this is happening. Then they do a reassessment, and that's how their hours either get increased, or if they're at a point where they need the 24-hour care, the service coordinator could direct them into the facility so that they can get that 24-hour care.
Right. And then this is not to dissuade anything, but I'm just sort of getting into the perspective of, what the parameters are, because, part of living life is having those moments where things get a little crazy. Mm-hmm. And, that goes for anybody from ages 18 on up, and even kids too. Well, but, they're already being taken care of, hopefully. And it's good to know, because, with many agencies, sometimes it's just, we do things one way and that's it. Whereas, again, with Patriot Home Care, there's this fluidity of, if we think something is better for you, we'll find something better, but we think that this might be the best option for you.
Right. Because we're basically, our main goal is the client, to make sure that they're taken care of. I look at all of my clients as somebody in my family. I don't want someone going into someone's house and taking advantage of them.
Right.
On the flip side of that, though, when we hire these caregivers, they're talking to us and making it sound all great and, pleasant. And when they go out to the client's house, they might act differently. So that's where the client needs to step in. To step in and tell us what's going on so that we can fix it. Get another caregiver, things like that. So, but I always look at the clients as someone in my family.
We were talking earlier about the point of, compassion being the major element to being a caregiver with Patriot Home Care. And I think the other big element too, and that sort of goes with compassion, is communication. Mm-hmm. Because if you're not communicating properly, you're sort of, a bit of a shy tendency in a sense. On a human level, that's okay, but if caregiving may not quite be where you're at. And then at the same time, it may be a chance for someone to sort of, break out and butterfly by, taking part and helping others out.
As far as the communication, you are right. I mean, that's something that needs to, happen between everybody, between the caregiver, the client, and the agency. I think the issue is a lot of the caregivers are afraid to say something because they think that they're doing something wrong, so we always tell our caregivers, don't be afraid to come to us. We'll talk to you about it. We'll talk to the client, we'll try to resolve it. Because a lot of places, you mess up one time, you're out of here, you're gone.
Right.
Or if you have your own opinion, you could be gone, you could be out of there. Whereas with Patriot, we take into consideration both sides. So we're not going to take the caregiver's word over the client. We're not going to take the client's word over the caregiver. We're going to work it out to where we know both sides and then make the call that needs to be made.
Understood. And that's a good thing too, because again, like other places, their goal is a bit more objective, more bottom line based, where it's, do this or else. Where in the case of, assisted living care, we're talking about human beings. We're talking about people that, have routines, and then you're introducing somebody else to that routine, and they have to get used to it, and they're not sure what's going on. And there's so much that could happen as far as, and then that's why I said communication is key, because, especially early on, whenever people are trying to learn their routines, there may be cases of miscommunication. And so it's good for, everybody to sort of, flesh things out and, figure out, okay, what is it that we need to do next? And I think that is something that is, it's good to know that Patriot Home Care sort of takes that time to invest themselves in.
And I'm the first one out in the field. I mean, if there's an issue, if there's a call, something's going on with the caregiver, something's going on with the client, you can ask all the girls in my office, and you can ask anybody, that works for me. I'm the first one out there. I don't push it off on anybody. I take control as, this is my family, and I go out and I try to assess the situation and make the decision that needs to be made.
Very good, very good. Well, again, for those who want to get involved with Patriot Home Care, they can go online at the Patriot Home Care website, which is
patriothomecare.org.
There we go. I feel like I should have known that one, but I figured
that's okay.
You probably know that better than I do. And again, we'll have a link to that up at beavercountyradio.com later on this morning, along with the interview. And Kelly, thank you once again for coming in today and sharing us all the information about Patriot Home Care. Well, most of the information, at least a good way to sort of start getting people to spread the message of assisted living independence and being a caretaker in that organization.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Coming up next is a Thursday morning edition of Teleforum with Master Electrician Eddie Crow, following the news here on Beaver County Radio, along with beavercountyradio.com and Facebook Live, if there is necessitation for that. Wait a minute. I'm just going to close the show. Make plans to attend Beaver County Boom and make Beaver County Radio a part of your evening celebration on June